This is Leonard Sanicola for WorldatWork TV. Today we're going to be talking about financial wellness or financial well-being programs. What are they? Financial wellness or well-being programs are programs that aim to improve a person's overall financial health, basically helping them with their personal financial situation. Why should employers care about this? For lots of reasons. Research has shown that financial stress leads to a variety of other issues that affect the employer. So financial stress has shown to lead to physical stress, workforce distractions, increased absenteeism, increased medical costs, increased disability costs, higher presenteeism, a variety of issues. We saw this specifically during the Great Recession. So employers need to care because these distractions, these concerns of employees affect overall productivity and employee engagement. How does this issue affect retirement savings? It has been shown that employees often are not saving for retirement because they have other financial concerns and priorities. So if an individual is worrying about how they're going to meet their day-to-day expenses, whether that be their rent, their mortgage, or their utilities, they're not even thinking about retirement. So if an employer wishes to increase participation and engagement in their retirement plan offerings, it really would be incumbent upon the employer to address the financial priorities and needs of its employees first. What are some tips for creating a successful financial wellness program? Some tips would include, first of all, taking an assessment of your workforce. So conducting a needs assessment. Then, once you know what the financial priorities are of your demographics, then prioritize them, followed by building some targeted and customized education around that. Certainly monitoring for performance. Then you would want to measure program effectiveness and continually monitor the program to make sure that it's achieving its overall objectives. Let's walk through each of those components. Let's start with a needs assessment. So the first thing you want to know is what are the concerns, the financial concerns or priorities of your employees. You can gauge this information through a variety of ways. You can do a very confidential employee survey, you can do focus groups, or what you could do is a financial fitness questionnaire. So similar to a health and wellness initiative where you give employees a health risk questionnaire and you ask them about their health conditions, you may do the same on the financial side. So it would be a questionnaire that would assess not only what they are doing in terms of household budgeting or debt management or cash flow, but also their actions that they are taking, because you want to get at the behaviors. You know, what are people's problems, what are they doing about it, and then how do you move the needle to get them to take action on certain things. So one of those approaches would determine what the needs are. So let's say then you have that information. The second step that you would move to is then prioritizing. So from the information you gather that the biggest issue your employees have is budgeting. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to build education, targeted education around how to properly budget. You can work with a variety of service providers, community organizations and agencies. Oftentimes this is a very low-cost employer expense, and you would arrange some type of education. How you deliver that, whether it's through online, whether it's in person, whether it's a combination of those channels, that's all going to be dependent upon how best to reach your particular workforce demographics. Once you build that education, then you want to make sure that you're achieving your objectives. So you want to make sure your messaging encourages engagement. You get family members involved. That's one of the things that's often very important, is to get your dependent spouses or domestic partners involved, people that are involved in the financial decisions of a household. So you would bring them into the program, you'd have that education, and then you would assess perhaps a year later to see if the needle has moved and people have taken action. You would then continue going down the line of what are the issues people are concerned about, and you would build education around that. So it would be a holistic approach. You could address topics like how to save for college, college savings. It could be around owning a home. It could be around investments, having the right amount of insurance coverage, whether that be life, medical, disability. There's a whole range of financial topics that you can address, overall money management issues. You would go through all of those based upon the priorities and needs of your workforce. One thing to remember is the learning style and preferences of your employees. So in building your targeted education, make sure you understand how people best receive information and use that accordingly. There's lots of tools out there, so you want to make sure that whoever you're partnering with brings to the table tools and resources that you can get people to use. Oftentimes it's very productive to be able to actually have people do work through something. So whether it's a budgeting calculation, actually do a hands-on kind of assessment through that, as opposed to just telling people these are the steps to do a budget. So if you can make it more hands-on, it probably will have a better outcome, a better effect. You may wish to test the program by doing a pilot in one of your locations. As you go through the process, you always want to have a feedback mechanism loop. So you want to collect information, evaluate it, talk to employees that have gone through the program, talk to employees perhaps that haven't, try to assess how you can continually improve. Again, the objective here is to help people be financially secure and healthy, and that will impact their overall performance on the job and have them remain focused and productive and not distracted by the financial concerns. This is a global issue. Research has shown that financial concerns are overwhelming to employees throughout the world. So in conducting your financial wellness research and building your programs, make sure you look at all areas of your organization, especially if you are a multinational. So in conclusion, financial wellness programs are on the rise. They have been around for quite some time, but really took a leap, I would say, during and out of the Great Recession, as it became apparent that employees were struggling. By focusing on the financial wellness of your employees, you will be able to address productivity issues and medical and disability costs and absenteeism issues, and get people engaged and hopefully get them to also have enough money to then put away towards the retirement vehicle that you offer to them. So this is definitely a win-win for both employers and employees. For WorldatWork TV, this is Leonard Sanicola.